Pre-made shower steamers are very convenient, but they can be really expensive. Apparently they're easy to make, and I had all of the ingredients to make them at home. Today I'm testing 3 different recipes to see which ones give the best results for scent dispersion and longevity. I'm going to talk you through step by step each of them and then let them dry for a couple of days, and I will give you my feedback on the differences between the 3. Plus, I'll share how shower steamers can turn your everyday shower into a spa-like experience. Stick around till the end for my verdict and let me know in the comments which DIY I should try next. Before we dive in, let's talk about the benefit of shower steamers. They're little tablets that are packed with essential oils that dissolve in your shower. They release an aromatic steam, and depending on which oils you use, it can help to calm you down or energize you or even clear up a stuffy nose. Popular scents include lavender and chamomile for calming down, citrus and lemongrass to energize you, and eucalyptus and peppermint oil to help clear up congestion. It's winter and it's snowy where I am, so going into heating and into the cold can leave my sinuses a little crabby. I'm going to use eucalyptus oil in all 3 of the steamers that I'm trying today, just so that I can do a fair comparison when I'm in the shower and seeing how they release their scents. The first steamer I'm going to try from HGTV's website, and I will link to all 3 step-by-step guides below, but I'll also put them into the description here so that you don't have to go searching. HGTV's shower steamers only use baking soda and then the essential oils and the water. The next recipe adds in 1 extra ingredient, and that is Epsom salts. Now that recipe is from the Missouri River Regional Library. And the last combo we're going to try is from Inspired Edibles, and it uses baking soda, Epsom salts, and citric acid. Now, their recipe includes different leaves and things to make it look pretty. I'm afraid that my drain is going to get clogged, so I didn't use any petals from flowers or leaves. I just stuck to the main ingredients, the baking soda, Epsom salts, citric acid, and then water to hold it together, and the essential oils to give it the smell. The HGTV recipe is a little different than the others in that it calls for time in oven. So what I'm going to do is make 2 batches of this. 1 in the oven and 1 not in the oven, because who's got time to stick stuff in the oven? 1 cup of baking soda and 1/4 cup of water. Now it's time to mix, mix, mix. And you can see that this one looks super watery, which is probably why it's going to take time in the oven. So I'm just going to add the baking soda and water mixture into the cup. And this is make 2 shower steamers that are about the size of a regular muffin. Now that our 15 minutes are up, pop these guys out onto a cooling rack. Ooh, those guys are steaming. They still seem kind of loose, so I'm just gonna let them sit and solidify. Next up, I'm going to make the exact same recipe, but instead of putting it in the oven, I'm going to leave it for a few days to solidify. 1 cup of baking soda. Got a little less than 1/4 cup of water because it was so wet. And I'm adding the eucalyptus oil now. Just like with the other batch, I have stirred it up and I'm going to put it into the molds. The instructions from the Missouri River Regional Library say to mix 1/2 cup of Epsom salt and 1 cup of baking soda together first. Now they suggest a mixture of eucalyptus and lavender and other essential oils, but I am just going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of eucalyptus oil. It says to add between 1 and 4 tablespoons of water. I've added one, and you can see that it is not at all clumpy yet. So I'm gonna add a second tablespoon of water. Mix, mix, mix. It seems to be holding together pretty well. It still crumbles a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to carefully pack it into the silicone mold and I will let it dry. As it dries, it's going to solidify. So the little pieces that are trying to escape will be stuck to the main part of the steamer. And here's the thing, if you add 4 tablespoons of water and it's kind of wet and runny, that's okay. It's just going to take a little extra time for the shower steamer to solidify. So there we go. We've got 3 batches done. On to the 4th. So the ratio here is a little bit different. We've got 1.5 cups of baking soda to 1/2 cup of Epsom salts. And now I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of citric acid. So I have stirred together the dry ingredients. And again, this recipe says to add our essential oils at this stage, which doesn't make sense to me, but since it's my first time doing this, I am going to follow the instructions. So 1/2 teaspoon. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit more to this one because there is more of the base in this one. So I want to make sure that it balances. As I read through this recipe, it says to use rubbing alcohol or witch hazel, not water. These weren't listed in the ingredients, which I find a little frustrating. I am going to use rubbing alcohol because the first time I make something, I like to stick with the recipe. I can always alter it in the future. I don't feel too badly about using rubbing alcohol because I feel like you are going to have that in your home probably, or it's very easily accessible. You can get it at grocery stores, at drugstores, at Walmart, at the Dollarama. It's all over the place. So we're going to use a tablespoon of rubbing alcohol and see how it goes. I had so much of the batter, for lack of a better term, left over from that last batch, and I decided to grab another silicone mold. This stuff is frothing up like crazy. This is the one that has the rubbing alcohol along with the baking soda, so I know that that's what's happening here. I don't know what that will mean for the shower steamer, but I just wanted to show you the effect that it's having. So now that these are all filled up, I'm going to leave them for 48 hours. The recipes say between 12 and 24 hours. I'm going away for the weekend, so in 48 hours, I will be back and I will check them. It turns out that the ones with the rubbing alcohol did not get better as time went on. These ones are the baking soda and Epsom salts ones, and they are holding their shape beautifully. So we will pop these in the shower and see what they are like. I am going to redo these ones with the citric acid, but I'm going to try using water just to see. These are the ones that I made using the HGTV recipe with just baking soda, and they look weird, but they're holding their shape nicely. These are the ones that went into the oven. And then these ones look prettier. These are the ones that I didn't place in the oven. I used a little less water. I mixed the essential oils in at the beginning and left them to air dry. So we will see how these guys hold up and how these guys hold up in the shower. And then you can see it looks like a volcanic mess. This is another one of the ones that was made with baking soda, citric acid, Epsom salts, and rubbing alcohol was used to try to hold it together. Shower steamer results. Here's what I found. Just baking soda looked really pretty. It was very, very smooth and did not last very long at all. Dissolved almost immediately. As soon as I added Epsom salts, It looked a little lumpy and bumpy, but it lasted longer. The ones with the Epsom salts lasted longer, but I found that once you added the citric acid in, it didn't last too long, if that makes sense. I didn't like the proportions of water and essential oil though. I ended up 4 days in and the shower steamers still hadn't hardened. So I recommend using more essential oil because it wasn't fragrant enough for me, and less water so that it solidifies more quickly and you're not just waiting around for them to harden. I've got the links to the first 3 recipes that I tried below. If you think, yeah, I'm going to use just baking soda, that's what I've got at home, and I just want it for one shower occasionally on a weekend, baking soda will be your go-to. If you think, I want it to last as long as possible and I don't care if it's not much scent, I'm going to put one in my shower and I want it to last for weeks, then you're going to go with the second recipe with Epsom salts. If you think, I'd like it to last 2 days, 3 days and have the scent a little broader, then I would recommend using, frankly, the recipe that I came up with. It solidified in about 24 hours. The scent was excellent and it lasted for a few showers. So there you have it. 3 different recipes, 3 different results. So what do you think? Which one would you try? Or is there another DIY that you've been curious about but just haven't been able to decide on? I am really enjoying testing these things. So drop a comment below. Let me know what DIY activity sounds fun and we can do another comparison video. And please, as always, like, subscribe, share with a friend, and remember that you are not alone trying to dip your toe back into creating some easy DIY projects.